it's up to you, really up to you, to make use of the technical equipment available for you, and you have to obey these rules of this tribunal, and from this it follows that motions during this period of time have not to exceed a certain number of pages. It depends on the nature. If you feel it necessary, you can file a request to leave for additional pages. But this is the exception, not the rule. No doubt as to the fact that until now you didn't have these guidelines. All your submission, all the 100 pages will be taken into account when we decide on the motion filed by the prosecution. Then the question is, and I took it already from your answers, that there are no problems in the moment with the translation of the documents as far as you are concerned?
There is another problem. You adopted a decision to the fact that the additional material, the supporting material, submitted with other documents of the prosecutor should not be translated. However, I insist that everything must be translated. I concluded on the basis of this material that there are documents that are in the Serbian language in the original. So if the prosecutor has translated these documents into English, then I'm sure it should not be a problem to have these documents made available to me in the Serbian language. That's the easy part, because I will consider a document as inexistent before this tribunal if I have not received it in the Serbian language. So I consider the existing documents only the documents submitted in the Serbian language, if you want this trial to be fair and correct.
You have received the decision by the trial chamber ordering that all the relevant decisions have to be translated, and the same is true for the motions. This was the order on translation of documents filed the 6th of March 2003. If there should be any complaints, please be concrete and demonstrate those documents where you state that you receive them in a language you cannot understand, that we can resolve this problem. Are there any other problems for the status conference? May I ask first the prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. From the side of
I have a few to mention. A few problems that I wish to discuss. As for the first part of today's hearing, Your Honor, you said that I admitted that I had received the indictment in the Serbian language, but this was something that I never actually contested, because you failed to ask that question during the last initial appearance. I only made a representation as to what was read out in the courtroom. I inform you that I will avail myself of the right to object as to the failure to comply with Article 20 of the Statute. Regarding the issue of visas for the members of my closest family and my friends the issue has not yet been resolved. My family and my friends will never apply for a Dutch visa, especially now that the Dutch government is is giving its support to the American genocide and aggression against the Iraqi people. The Security Council of the United Nations is required to ensure visas if they can ensure territoriality and official stamps, that I am sure that they can provide official visas. The Dutch government cannot participate in the decision-making as to the rights of visit. This can be done only by the tribunal, by the administration of the detention unit, maybe in accordance with the appropriate rules, but the Dutch government cannot play any role in this whatsoever. And I wish to inform you of one additional matter, Your Honor. This may be uncomfortable for you, but I have to tell you that on several occasions...
Go step by step. First of all, I want to ask you to use a civilized language and not to express yourself any kind of aggression. We are seized with the case Prosecutor versus Vojislav Seselj, Dr. Šešelj, and not with other cases. What is now about your visum or visa? I hope you received already, if not, it's on its way, the host country agreement in a language you understand. There you will not find a lot of assistance to your problem. The solution is found in international law. As to the fact that you have to enter Dutch territory and to go through Dutch territory before coming to this tribunal, and the same is true for your relatives or visitors. It's the rule of public international law that the country has to issue the visum or visa for this special purpose. And until now, during the 10 years of the existence of this tribunal, there had been no real problems with this. So I have to ask you and the members of your family to obey these rules and to apply for a visum issued by the Netherlands, being the host country for our tribunal. There is no other possibility. But I interrupted you. You wanted to go to another issue, please.
I wish to inform you, Your Honor, that in 2001, in the month of September, I personally applied for a Dutch visa so that I could pay a visit to the detainees in the Scheveningen detention unit. This visa was officially refused to me in a letter sent by the Dutch Foreign Ministry, in which they claimed that I constituted a danger with respect to the national security of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. By the same token, if I constitute a danger with respect to the national security to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, then all members of my family and all my close friends apparently pose the same danger. There should be no difference in respect to that in any way. To the extent that I posed a danger to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, they do too. However, if you should persist in your request, I can only conclude that at the end of this trial, at the end of these proceedings, no matter how long they take, I will not be able to receive any visitors. But I think I can stick it out. I can take it.
Dr. Šešelj, the situation is now a different one. And I can only ask you that in case members of your families or other visitors want to come and visit you, then they may apply for the necessary visa, and should there be any problem, should there be any obstacle at all, please tell this tribunal, and I'm quite sure we will overcome these problems, and you will receive the visitors, especially your family members, in this tribunal. Until now, there has never been an insoluble problem. So it is up to you. Please follow the rules of international law and apply for the necessary visa, or let your members of the family apply for this visa. So there shouldn't be any problem at all. Any other issues?
Yes. Concerning the issue of visa, I consider the question to be solved and closed, because I know I won't be able to receive any visits until the end of the trial. I have legal advisors who will not be able to visit me either, but as I said, I consider the issue to be closed. I also made a request to the tribunal that the sum of $438 be paid to me. That was the price of the air ticket. I paid for my travel expenses. I think that the Hague Tribunal should cover these expenses. In any case, this was a much cheaper version than the one that would have been if I had been brought here by force. You told me, Your Honor, that you will provide me with statutory provisions regulating the uniform of the judges, the way they dress. I have still not received any such document. My application, therefore, is still pending. I also raised the issue of having to wear a flak jacket on the way to the tribunal. I must inform you that this time I was given a much lighter flak jacket than the one I had last time, which I consider to be some sort of privilege. However, I have to insist that I do not need any flak jacket. I do not feel exposed to any danger. If anyone is exposed to danger here, then the judges should also wear flak jackets, because if anyone should kill me, that would not be a big deal. If a judge of the tribunal should be killed, that would constitute a big loss for the tribunal and the United Nations. This physical torture and harassment in form of a flak jacket should be stopped, because there have never been any attacks, any assaults to the detainees on the way to the tribunal. There have never been any dangers established in this regard. So why should I be harassed in this way? I don't understand. This is what I have so far, unless the prosecutor has any issue to raise, and I, of course, have the right to respond.
Coming back to the obligation to wear a Kevlar jacket, and this time a lighter one. It's a security assessment, and it's therefore that all inmates of the detention unit, when brought to the tribunal, they have to wear this Kevlar jacket. We regard it as our duty to follow the security assessment of our security personnel, and it's our duty in respect of care of supervision emanating from the fact that we are the ones issuing the warrant of arrest against you, and therefore when there is this security assessment, that we have to take care that you run no risk at all. you have to wear this Kevlar vest in your own interest, and this is true for all the accused appearing here in this tribunal. Anything else?
Evo sad sam čuo neki izraz uhić.
Well, I have just heard an expression that I don't understand, namely uhićenje. I know what ushićenje means. It means a great excitement. As to the word uhićenje, I really don't know what it means. I think I need the assistance of an interpreter who speaks the Serbian language. Oh, an arrest warrant. Now I understand. Next time you use the right word. I've just received an answer from the interpreter. You may have not heard this. It is my assumption, Your Honor, that your interpreters have the texts of the documents in the Serbian language, and they are now changing the exact expressions on their own.
We are here in a tribunal where we use all the three variants of the same common Serbo-Croatian language, and everybody is treated equally. And I found out that you just mentioned a concrete word. In the dictionary of the standard Serbo-Croatian language, edited in 1967 in Novi Sad and Zagreb, all the words you complained about, they were equaled. This is true for the word opći and opšti, for the word točka and tačka. This is true for the word opština and opština. So you have to accept and you have to show some tolerance. Language is a tool bringing people together and to make us understand each other. But we can't expect that everybody speaks the same variant or even worse, the same dialect. In this tribunal, for example, we have English as one of the official languages. Sometimes, also for us, it's difficult to understand a person speaking Irish English, French English, German English, American English, but we have to live with this, in this spirit of tolerance and trying to understand each other. So therefore, nothing will be special with you when it comes to the translation and to the translation booth. You always have to be aware, and to be honest, we don't care about this. From where a person comes, be it Zagreb, Novi Sad, Belgrade, or wheresoever. The main point is that it's translated into a language you understand, and there should be not the slightest problem with this. So, anything additional from any parts? I can see Madam Prosecutor nodding. Please.
Ja mislim, gospodine sudi,
Unfortunately, in the moment, there was no interpretation available. Could you please repeat?
Gospodine
about the behavior of Madame Del Ponte.
Can you hear us now?
Now we can hear you. So, please proceed. Sorry.
Ja moram da vam se požalim na...
I have to complain about the behavior of the prosecutor, Madame Carla Del Ponte. In Brussels on the 6th of March, she spoke for the media and for the public. That is her right, and I don't deny it. But she mentioned me in a political context. She stated, Šešelj is in Scheveningen, and his departure did not cause any major upheavals, and so on and so forth. She cannot fight against me by political means as long as I'm in prison. That's my opinion, and you shall judge whether I am right. She should not be using my name in any kind of political context. She can prosecute me in court, but if she is going to make speeches about me for the media in a political context, then you have to make it possible for me to do likewise. Otherwise, I insist that my name not be used in the political context of public appearances by the prosecution. And secondly, I never caused any upheavals or any trouble or unrest in Belgrade at all. So why should my departure for The Hague cause any kind of unrest when I've been trying to come to The Hague for 8 years? In December 95, I called up the prosecution 3 times by phone insisting that I should come to The Hague. So why should this cause any kind of unrest in Serbia? I wanted to come here. I am grateful that my wish has been granted. So don't fight against me politically while I am manacled in handcuffs. There is another problem as well, and it is contained in the prosecution motion asking that the defense counsel be imposed on me. On page 8, the prosecution says, the accused Šešelj thrives on causing scandal, conspiracy, and publicity. I have been tried for at least 50 times in my country, in Serbia, always for political reasons. Never has it happened that a public prosecutor has insulted me so badly in a public document. The accused Šešelj thrives on scandal. Your Honor, I think this cannot be tolerated. And you, as the presiding judge of Trial Chamber 2, should take the necessary steps to prevent this sort of thing from happening again. Because if I start insulting the opposite side, I assure you that I have more talent and more success in this sort of thing than the prosecution, and they will not find it pleasant. Since I have been in prison, I have never said anything so insulting about Mrs. Del Ponte.
As mentioned before, we are still seized with this motion filed by the prosecution. We were not able to receive your answer in writing as soon as possible, and as soon as practicable, you will receive the response and the decision by the entire trial chamber on these issues. Finally, under Rule 65, I have to ask you mandatorily, do you have any problems with your health in the moment?
No.
Do you have any complaints about the conditions in the detention unit?
As for the detention unit, I have no complaints. But I insist that the prosecution return to me a book that was confiscated while I was out walking, the 31st volume of my collected works.
Ako želi tužilaštvo da
If the prosecution wants to get this book, they can buy it in Belgrade, in a bookshop.
nisam imao nijedno ilegalno izdanje.
I have never owned any illegal editions. All my books are available to the public. If they ask me nicely, I can lend it to them and let them read it. But I think there's no point in brutally wrenching it from me.
I think this problem can be resolved immediately. It shouldn't. Do you want to?
No, just to specify that it's not the prosecutor who confiscated the book. We don't know about this book. It is probably the director of the unit detention or the, I don't know, but it's not the prosecutor who confiscated the book.
Thank you for this clarification. If you have any complaints about this, don't hesitate to do this in writing. This concludes today's further appearance, and at the same time the status conference. The hearing stands adjourned.
All rise. Veuillez vous lever.